Hi, I'm Brent Michael Phillips from MIT, and I'm here to talk to you today about the three generations of consciousness technology. So I'm going to explain what all three generations are and what to look for so you know what you're actually getting. But first I want to talk about why does this matter, right? It sounds interesting, but hey Brent, why should I care about what generation of consciousness technology is? Well, this is really important. It really is. I would not be wasting your time unless this is one of the most important things to change the trajectory you're on for your life, seriously. Because if you don't know this, you're going to waste years, maybe decades, and tens of thousands of dollars thrown away on old clunky technology. Why? Most of us don't understand what we're looking at. As an example, you probably wouldn't be caught dead with a flip phone from 20 years ago, would you? Of course not. You want something that's modern, something that's fast, it has a really good camera, that can run 4G, 5G, right? That links to the cloud, that has a ton of storage. Of course you do. You wouldn't be caught dead using a computer made 40 years ago. Do you really want to be using an original IBM PC with a floppy disk drive? Of course not. But imagine if you were a caveman and you got pulled through a time machine and someone said to you, hey, pick a computer. Which computer do you want? On one hand, we have an original IBM PC from 1981. With the old 8088, right? Floppy disk drives, the whole bit. On the other hand, you have a modern gaming computer from someplace like Main Gear or Alienware. Well, that caveman would have no idea which computer is better. And he would go half the time, pick the old technology. Why? He doesn't know better. This is why this is so important. Because the self-improvement technology you choose to work with, whatever programs, books, coaches, seminar sessions you do, is one of the most important decisions you'll make in your entire life, because that's going to create the new you. The self-improvement work you're doing right now, this year, next month, next year, this is what creates the foundation for the whole rest of your life. So do you want to be stuck with old clunky technology? Of course not. But if you don't know better, if you don't know how to discern the difference between the old clunky technology and something that's new and proven and incredibly fast and efficient and powerful, you're going to be like that caveman that came through the time machine. You're going to end up spending a lot of money on clunky old garbage. Now, to be fair, old technology is not always worse, but it usually is, right? And so what I want to talk to you about is the three generations of consciousness technology. Unfortunately, I'd say like 80% of the self-improvement, law of attraction, mind power, energy healing world is still stuck in the first generation. You might get some results, but it's going to be spotty and it's just not very powerful. It can only take you so far. About 19.5% is second generation. And we're going to talk about exactly what that means, what the hallmarks are right here in this video. What I want to encourage you to look for is the third generation, the fastest, most powerful, proven new technology, and there's not much that's out there. But I'm going to give you what to look for. And I'm not just going to be promoting my stuff, I'm going to tell you what to look for, specifically how you can discern the difference. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about first generation technology. And this is consciousness technology, how we use the power of the mind. So first generation technology includes your standard law of attraction teachings, things like The Secret, affirmations, mantras, Think and Grow Rich. This is why I say it's not wrong or bad, it's just primitive technology. The teachings are good. And if you've never done anything like this before, that's not a bad place to start. The good news is you don't have to go pay $5 or $10 or $50,000 for some fancy program. I can give you a reading list of like 3, 4, 5 books, many of which were printed over 100 years ago, that will cost you less than $50 to pick up on eBay or Amazon. And read those, you're all set. You have mastered the first generations of consciousness technology. This is why this is so important. I don't want you going out getting caught by someone with a slick sales pitch, a great web page, right? Slick testimonials. They're just manipulating you to take your money. So watch out. So first generation technology is often about positive thinking. They'll tell you focus on what's good. Make a vision board, make a wish list, enroll supportive people. Now again, these are not bad ideas. They're just primitive technology. One of the hallmarks of first generation technology is that it focuses almost entirely on the conscious mind. There's little to no direct involvement of the subconscious. Now, they may know that the subconscious is there, but they don't really know what's in there or how to work with it. As an example, one of the good first gen programs I went to years ago, I went to T. Harv Eker's Secrets in the Millionaire Mind. It was very well done first generation technology. They got everyone all psyched up. We all jumped around on the stage and high-fived each other. Yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to reach in and bring out my inner millionaire. And we found people to trade mastermind sessions with, and we all committed to making a vision board and did all this cool stuff. So it's not a bad thing. The trouble is it just doesn't work very well. There was actually a study commissioned on the law of attraction done, a scientific study. And here's what they found. Less than 1% of people who use the traditional mind power law of attraction techniques, in other words, first generation technology, felt they got good results. So a couple things to say. First of all, 1% is not 0%, it's 1%. So it can work for some people, it's just very limited. So if you get 1,000 people packed into a hotel room and you have them all jumping around on the stage like monkeys shouting out how they're going to be a millionaire, that's not a bad thing. On average, 10 of those people will have a breakthrough that will take them to the next level in life. Why? Because 1% of 1,000 is about 10 people. But for the other 990 people there, they're going to go home disappointed. The temporary high of that psychological inflation will wear off. And that's a really important concept. I'm not going to dive into it in this video, but learning how to recognize psychological inflation, that's one of your golden tickets to success. That's how you bypass the nonsense and the crap and the people selling expensive boxes of hot air. So 1% chance of success, not 0, but 1. And they often talk about the subconscious, but they don't know what to do with it. To pick on the event I went to, the main speaker said, hey, you know what? If you want to get ahead in life, you got to find your subconscious blocks. And his process was this. He said, say a statement out loud and see if it resonates inside of you. If it does, put a rubber band around your wrist and snap yourself as you say it over and over. That was his technology to work with the subconscious. I kind of cringed because there's much more powerful technology. I'll talk about it in just a few minutes. So they may recognize the subconscious, but they have really primitive and clunky methods of working with it. That's first gen. So again, positive thinking, most masterminds, typical law of attraction, The Secret, Think and Grow Rich. Nothing wrong with it, it's just old and very limiting. It can only take you so far. Some people like it and it's a good foundation, but please don't stay stuck there. And please don't go spend a lot of money on this stuff. I can give you a couple books to read, knock those out, cost you 40, 50 bucks, all you ever need to know. So enough about the first gen. Let's talk about the second generation of consciousness technology. This is where it gets really interesting. And so the hallmark of the second generation of consciousness technology is they develop specific methods of working directly with the subconscious mind. So some examples would be NLP, very well-known example of second-gen technology. Hypnosis, especially if it's done intuitively, good second-gen technology. Psych-K, healing codes, emotion codes, the body codes, theta healing, things like that. They all have specific processes for identifying and clearing subconscious blocks or obstacles. Now, that is much more powerful than just the positive thinking, than just the vision board. That's why it really is a leap forward. One of the things you'll find with the second gen is that your success rate increases significantly. With first gen law of attraction stuff, you're looking at about 1%. When you get into the second generation, depending on the skill of the practitioner, your dedication, the difficulty of your problem, you're looking at maybe a 10-20% success rate. The other thing that's a hallmark of second generation technology, this is where you start to see the medical miracles. This is where you start to see people instantly healing from cancer, migraines, HIV, broken bones healing overnight, lifelong depression vanquished, that kind of thing. And this is why I came up learning first and second generation technology. And even when I was totally stuck in my head, even when I couldn't feel anything, even when I had no more intuition than a particularly dumb rock, I could still get results. You can engineer the second gen technology and still get results. I created hundreds of miracle healings for my clients before I really knew what I was doing. So again, the second technology isn't wrong. It's a lot better than first gen technology, but we still have a lot of room for improvement. Why? One, second gen technology tends to be very much stuck in the mind. There's a lot of process, a lot of detail. So it's easy. There's an easier learning curve, especially if you're a head case, because it can be done often very analytically. So as an example, I'm a huge fan of applied kinesiology, but it's very much in the second gen. It's a lot of test this and check that and do this, right? So it can create a lot of medical miracles. It's absolutely worth doing. but it can only take you so far. Why? It's old technology. So if our first generation technology is like an IBM PC from 1981, the second gen technology is maybe like a good Dell gaming machine from the year 2000. There's a lot of improvements, right? You got built-in internet, you got a graphical user interface, you have a dedicated graphics card. So it's a big step forward, but it's still far from what we can do today. It's still way beyond, way far away from state of the art. So what I recommend is start with the first gen, read a couple books, you're all set. I think it's absolutely worth learning a second generation technology, if nothing else, for the health and medical aspects of it. You will see instant healings. You will see profound transformations. But again, your success rate, you're looking at 10 to 20% on average. Might be a little higher, a little lower, depending on the person, the practitioner, your background, your attitude, the nature of your subconscious. There's a lot of factors. But it still leaves a lot to be desired. One of the big downsides to the second gen technology is it's usually not enough to make a big breakthrough in terms of presence, connection to the quantum field, making money, to be blunt. So for me, when I did the first gen stuff, when my life was in crisis, it did very little for me. I was one of the 99% that got almost no results. I spent a lot of money running around, dancing on a lot of stages, high-fiving a lot of people, shouting out repeatedly that I'm a millionaire, right? Lots of affirmations, mantras, masterminds, vision boards. Nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't enough, at least for me. Then I get into the second gen, I experienced my first miracle when my frozen elbow instantly healed. I was able to clear my allergies. I was able to overcome this persistent rash and a lot of physical, emotional stuff. So worth doing. And if you look at my teachings, I kind of skip over the first generation. I'm like, hey, go read Think and Grow Rich or watch The Secret. You're all set. That's all you need to know. What I will teach you in my trainings is a very technologically advanced form of second gen work. That's a good foundation for the higher levels. It's easy to learn. It's easy to apply, especially if you're stuck in your head. It doesn't require a high level of connection or presence. You don't need a natural talent for intuition. So it's absolutely worth doing. And so what's the difference between the way I do it and say someone that does Psych K or Emotion Code or Healing Codes or AK or something? Simple. It's a more advanced technology. It's basically the same stuff under the hood when I'm doing belief work and healings. But it's faster, it's easier, it's more powerful. All right, so enough on the second gen. I'm guessing you're here to learn about the third generation. That is the modern stuff. That is the iPhone 12 or 14 or whatever the newest one is, right? With the 800 megapixel camera and 100 million gigabytes of RAM or whatever it is this week, right? This is high tech. And so what are the hallmarks of third generation consciousness technology? Well, here's the biggest one. First and second generation technology are done entirely from the ego. You will still operate and think that you are your brain, your mind, the human being. Maybe you think you're a man or a woman. Maybe you think you're a reincarnating spirit or some kind of eternal soul. What I want to point out is I'm not saying you're wrong, but that is an incomplete idea of the self. You are so much more than that. And so if we look at a typical first gen process, they'll say, you are incredibly powerful. You can learn how to have anything you want in your life. Okay, I'm not disputing that. That's a good teaching. Here's my question. What exactly is this you that is powerful and can have what it wants? What exactly is that? This leads us to awakening. This is the biggest distinguishing factor between first, second gen tech and the most advanced work, the third generation, is the first and second gen techs are done entirely from the ego. Again, it's not wrong or bad, it's just limiting. There's only so far you can go with it. And I spent a lot of years, a couple decades in fact, running around to first and second generation seminars and teachers and gurus and programs and books and audios and interviews and podcasts and all that, right? I had no idea what I was missing because we don't know what we don't know. But it's all done assuming you know what you are. You will think you're a being. Again, you might think you're a man or a woman or a reincarnating spirit or a soul that has one lifetime and goes to heaven or hell. I don't want to get into theology. That's not the point here. It's just that the real you is none of that. Those are all things. They're nouns, they're beings. The real you is way beyond any of that. It's not a noun at all. In fact, it's a verb. Now, it's way too much to get into awakening in this YouTube video. So I'm going to back burner that for now. Just know that focus on awakening, also called Jnana Yoga, the yoga of wisdom, also called Advaita Vedanta. the highest form of spiritual study in the Eastern traditions. This is what brings us into the third generation. We also learn how to work with presence, how to reconnect to the quantum field. And this is so critical because you can do a lot of first gen work, say your affirmations, mantras, go to your masterminds, jump around on the stage, shout out you're a millionaire. It might work for you, right? Maybe you're in that 1%. If you're not, it's going to be a lot of effort, a lot of money spent, and very few results. Then you're ready to upgrade to the second gen. Maybe you find out about Psych K or applied kinesiology or emotion code or healing codes or any of that good stuff, right? Again, I'm not opposed to any of it. It can help a lot of people. Maybe you experience some medical miracles. Maybe you overcome pain or a disease. Maybe you make some breakthroughs in your life, release some emotional baggage. That's all great. But if you don't get present, it's always going to be hit or miss. And it's easy to spend years or decades grinding away trying to find more blocks. And again, there's some benefit to it, but it can only take you so far. Because if you're really stuck in your head, if you're disconnected from the field of life, from presence, from intuition, from guidance, all that work can only do so much. It's just a huge limiter. It's like trying to run a marathon wearing a 50-pound weight vest. You can do it if you're in really good shape, but man, that's a lot of work, right? That's really hard. Most people would have a hard enough time just running a marathon without a weight vest. But to run around and try to do all this self-improvement work entirely from ego when you're disconnected from the quantum field, really, really tough, almost impossible. And this is why people get burned out. They quit, they give up, they get resigned to their fate. The good news is with third gen technology, we can fix that. That so many of us in the modern world, we have literally squeezed the consciousness out of our body. It's like taking a tube of toothpaste and squeezing it out. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's hard to get it back, isn't it? You have to really know what you're doing. But this is the great gift I got from my late mentor, Carl. He showed me how to get the toothpaste back in the tube. We do this with quantum field entrainment. We do this with movement feedback holography. We do this with the study of awakening, the insights into the genuine self. What is the real you? How's that different than the ego? What is the nature of the divine? What's the purpose of life? Is there fate of free will? These are all questions that can be fully answered by the third gen. And the most beautiful thing about it is it works. It gives almost everybody incredible results. I don't know if it's 100%, but it's probably 80, 90, 95%. That every single one of my students that has committed to this process, that is willing to do the work of the third generation technology, achieves big results in their life. It's not always right away. For some people it is. I've had plenty of people, they do one session, they get reconnected to the quantum field, they double or triple their income. They find love. They make a huge breakthrough in their career. They get a big contract, whatever it may be, right? My mentor Carl worked with Olympic athletes. One had never placed higher than 8th in any competition, won a silver medal the next week, one session. He worked with people who had struggled with their careers, a lot of writers in Hollywood. Couple sessions in the quantum field, get them reconnected, boom. They write a TV show that wins an Emmy, or they get paid to write a script for a movie that wins an Oscar, and boom, the career takes off. For some people, it's a longer process. For me, it was. For me, it really took 5 years of work with my mentor, Carl, before my career really hit its stride. Now, I'm not saying I didn't get results before that. No, it's just they were smaller or more temporary. So I had an extra 10, 20K come in. That's cool, right? But it's not going to change your life. But tripling your income or 10xing your income, that does. So with the third gen, again, it's not 100%, but it's the closest thing I've seen. And what I tell my students is simple. It's not a matter of whether or not you can achieve your goals. It's not a matter of whether or not you can make more money or heal your body or find love. That's not the question. With third generation technology, you can absolutely do those things. The question is, are you going to give up before you get there? That's the real question. And so if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to surrender the timetable, if you're willing to say, hey, divine, it might take a day, a week, a month, a year, it might take 10 years. I'm willing to surrender that to the divine will. I will just do the work. I will do what's asked of me. And you trust the results will show up when it's the right timing, you're going to do great. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The only reason people don't get results is they quit prematurely. Heck, I had a woman last year. She signed up for my whole package, came to one awakening intensive session, did like 5 privates with me. She got exactly the breakthrough she was looking for, and her life took off. She came to one awakening intensive session. That's it. She had a membership for a whole year. She only came to one, plus some privates and weekends with me. And boom, she got exactly what she wanted. It's not always that easy, but sometimes it is. And so if you want to find third gen technology, there's not much that's out there. This is what I offer, but I'm not here to give you a big sales pitch on my stuff. Though if you're interested, I'll give you a few pointers at the end. But before I go any further, I just want to say, if you're watching this video to this point, you know this is cool stuff, right? You don't want to miss out on what's coming on this channel. So make sure you go smash subscribe, go click like, go hit those buttons 3, 4, or 5 times. You don't want to miss out. Awesome. So something with an emphasis on identifying the real you, separating that from the ego and the mind. That's critical for third gen. You also need some way to get that toothpaste back in the tube, to reconnect you to the quantum field of life, presence, and grace. We do that through quantum field entrainment and movement feedback holography. I'm not saying there aren't other technologies that can do it. I'm just saying I haven't found them. And I've read a lot of books. I've been to a lot of seminars. I've worked with a lot of gurus and teachers. And none of them I could do the things my mentor Carl could. So I feel very blessed that I was given this opportunity to work with this technology, to have it massively transform my life. And I've spent the last 10 years working with my students and changing lives on a smaller stage. But I'm here on YouTube to bring this work to a larger audience, because Carl passed away several years ago, and I'm the only person on the planet he ever gave his full approval to teach and practice his work. So I have a duty and an obligation to bring this to you. This is real, this is powerful, this really works, and I know you don't want to miss out. So if I'm not your style, please don't come to my events. I don't mind at all. Find someone that works for you. If you do like my style, if you like it direct, nothing but the truth, no nonsense, no new age hugs, just what works, what's functional, what delivers results, absolutely hop on my website. You can see the URL on the screen right here. It's also in the introduction of the video. If you haven't done so yet, take my spiritual power quiz. Identifying your secret spiritual power is the first step into the higher dimensional world. From there, I'll give you invitations to some of my live events where you can join us online and have an experience of the quantum field for yourself. So I'm coming to the end here, so I hope you found this useful. I want to put this model into your head of these 3 generations of consciousness technology. That way, when you're looking at the latest offer from a coach, from a healer, a seminar, an audio program, you can understand where they're coming from and what they're offering you. Look beyond the slick sales pitch and the clothes and the Ferrari, right? That's all nonsense. It's all BS. Look at what they're really offering you. If there is a way to clear the subconscious, great, they're in the 2nd gen. If they can create medical miracles, great, they're in the 2nd gen. But if they can help you understand exactly what you are, answer the big pictures, reconnect you to that life force, get you out of your head, into the zone, present, connected, powerful, that's the 3rd generation. That's what I want to offer to you, because I know that's what's almost absolutely certainly going to make the biggest difference in your life. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you go to my website, take your spiritual power quiz, and I will see you very soon. I've got some more awesome videos coming up all about the quantum field. We're going to talk about quantum field entrainment and movement feedback holography and dig into some of the details of exactly how we do this 3rd generation consciousness technology. So Brent Michael Phillips from MIT signing off for now. And until I see you next time, take care and namaste.